Hey traders, Nick Shaheen here, doing a fast fire. Gonna go down the list of tickers in the watch list. No particular order. Sometimes it's alphabetical. Other times I try to bunch them up with like tickers. We'll start with Apple. Not a problem. A dip will get bought. Buy zone below. AMD. My favorite chip stock has support from the candle from the 23rd of February. It should hold. If it doesn't, then it could see 75 or below. Either of those two are buying points for me. Amazon, the king of the jungle, into support, may have triggered a bear, could fall below 2,900. It would be a buy on any dip. It will go by way of markets, so not a concern if I'm long. I don't add yet because I may have the opportunity to do that lower. If I were to get long, I'd use credit put spreads, which is probably the same answer for most of the mega caps we're going to hit. Boeing monster today, no need to comment. Baba, what's the deal with Jack Ma, the Jack Ma bottom? This should be bulletproof. I stand by it because the world ended for Baba here, almost literally for Jack Ma. So if it loses this, then it's going to here, which is highly unlikely without the market-wide crash, which is not in the forecast. So going into 230, it's a buy, in my opinion. I don't like banks at this point. I would short them. Baidu, disclosure, I am short Goldman Sachs. I did make some money. I booked it. I reinitiated, and now it's trading like a Bitcoin, and now I'm regretting because it's no longer trading based on what I thought it was trading as a bank. Baidu, big dip. I like it better now, but I'm missing a piece of the puzzle. I think it's got some sort of a self-driving thing going on, so I'll wait for it to get closer to 240. Cat, I haven't looked at in a long time. Yeah, too high for me yet. Too high, meaning I don't touch it. I get worried if I'm long, but it does have a cluster. That's Comcast, sorry. Chipotle, good buy on dips, almost same exact comments as Amazon, but so it's going to hold that 23rd. What the heck happened on the 23rd? Now I can't remember. So if they lose the 23rd low, they could trigger some sort of a head and shoulder-ish pattern that brings the point of control, which is that orange line. So it's a buy into this with a tight stop, because if you don't want to take the road all the way down to here. But if it does get to here, it's a buy. Excellent management, excellent execution for a restaurant. Super expensive. Super expensive, but they deliver comps. The minute they stop delivering comps like crazy, comp sale performance year over year growth, ditch it, because that's the only ace in the hole. Costco, it's a buy at these levels, more so than a sell. One day, is this a daily chart? Okay. Definitely fell into support, definitely triggered a sell off of 350. The target of that is a 315-ish eyeball, basically as high as this. So I don't know if they're playing off of 360 or off of 350. Either way, it's falling into support. Why? Because look, fail. You can say fail, breakout, testing the floorboard, and now they're coming back into it. It's a buy going into 305. How about that? I would sell a put spread. I would sell a naked put to own shares only. I don't sell puts without owning shares. Cisco, I don't know why I still have it on my watch list. It better hold this line. Otherwise, it's going to here. Definitely not for me right here. CVX, I'd short it. In fact, I am short it. It's red, but I am short it. I don't believe in this XLE rally. Oil at 60 plus. Are you kidding me? It's higher than what it was before COVID, when everything was cool and nobody was telecommuting and the EV craze is not as hot, and now it's going to be higher than then. That's BS. I don't buy it, literally. Too high for my taste, but I can't short it. That's airlines, right? It's WSB's love. So it's not even back to COVID, which it shouldn't. That's what the market should be. A little worse than COVID, not way above COVID. So that's the concern. Disney, all right, so here's the thing. It's too high for my taste, but Disney trades like Netflix used to. So if you can rewind in your mind to a couple of years back when Netflix was defying the odds, crappy fundamentals, and rally. That's where Disney is now. Crappy fundamentals. I say that from their traditional model because they're trying to switch models to be based on streaming. So that's the way I trade Disney. It's too high for my taste anyway. Ford, I called it along under 7. I don't like it up here, but I can't short it. Facebook, same exact comment as Amazon. Falling into support could trigger another bear, at which point it would be an even better buy. If it ever falls into 230, I would sell as many put spreads or puts as I can. How about that? GE, same comments as Ford. I called it under 7, long, paid big time, definitely not for me up here. GLD, it's a long in my book. I am long, disclosure. And lost. I'm long and red, but I'm sticking with it. GM, I shorted it on this. I don't want to short it, but I don't want to be long it. Google is holding way better than I anticipated. I'd worry if I'm long. If it loses 1986, 87, if the market falls, it's not going to lose it on its own, but if the market falls, it will fill the gap. I have a credit put spread lookout, a better credit put spread here. So I'd be better buyer at closer 1830 than up here. Microsoft, same comments as Google. It should be lower. It should be like Facebook and Amazon, but it's way up here. You can't argue with results. It is a pivotal zone. If you look left, it's been a fight, but it also could trigger a dip down to 215, 220. Anywhere under 220 makes for a wonderful long, in my opinion. IBB, I haven't looked at it in a while. So what you don't want, it's falling into support. What you don't want is a bounce, and a bounce will find sellers. I guarantee you that around 160, 161 resistance, let's call it. And if it reverts from that resistance and fails at bouncing again here, look at that nice head and shoulders. It will come to here. And this one moves fast. We all know what's inside of it. Biotech, right? They're crazy stocks. XBI is another version of it. Same exact comments. It's falling into support, but I don't trust it. I bet you we could have the opportunity to get long this guy at 130 or 120. So that's where, in fact, why am I not doing that? Alert. These are notes from myself. I'm doing homework, so bear with me. Hey, all right. BB, same deal. I want to, in fact, a little bit higher than this. All right, that's not high enough. A little bit higher. No, that's fine. XLV, probably the same comments. That's the fairly well behaved. 107. Anything below 110 is an opportunity. IBM, oh my God, talk about underachievement, mediocre. But look, it serves it well. Mediocre means it's not happy, it's not sad, it's stuck in the middle. I don't know what to say. I mean, how much more disappointment can this management deliver without a revolution against it? I thought that all that stuff ended with, what's her name? Ginny Rometty, but it's the same company with a different guy. They promoted from within. They needed to bring from the outside. I won't short it. And if it dips, I'll buy it. Buy it how? Maybe some call spreads, maybe credit put spreads, but I'm not enticed. Intel, so it was cheap. I don't know if it is still cheap, but it's probably cheap for a reason among all the... so stagnant sales, increasing debt levels, that orange line, right? Income statement, we said stagnant, and then statistically super cheap, 12 PE, 3 price to sales. So if you compare it to Nvidia, this one is like air math 10 times cheaper, maybe 8 times, depends on what line you look at, and about twice as cheap as AMD from the price to sales, I think, from memory. Maybe AMD is 10 or 9 price to sales. Nvidia is like 24. So cheap for a reason. I would buy the dip. I wouldn't chase it up here. In fact, if you look left, what do I have here? Open air. So if they beat this, they have open air, but they have a cluster of resistance at 66 and prior failures here. So I'd be surprised to see them beat this all by their own. J&J, come on. They have all the tailwinds they want with all the vaccine stuff, but nothing to show for it in price. I would like it closer to 152 or lower. This is the point of control. This is the busiest place they've traded it, 148. So that would make a floor, cement floor. So if it falls down to here, you know what? Look at me. Look at me go. Credit put spread. Catch the falling knife with kid glove. JP Morgan, don't like it. KO, don't lose this support because it's going to 44. I couldn't understand how anyway, they do pay a dividend, 3.3 something percent. So that is a selling point that brings some support below because of TINA. There is no alternative. There's no fixed income for anybody anywhere in this world. So if you can get a stock that's somewhat stable, that delivers some capital appreciation and it pays you dividend, like it was a screaming good idea down here, it's okay idea up here. Morgan Stanley short. Micron, I don't like it up here. I don't get it. You want me to go on a rant? All right, I'll go on a rant. So I loved Micron when the PE was 3 and people were calling it a value trap. So I sold puts at 30 and they were under fire at $30, right? And not too long ago. Now the PE is 10 times as big, and the CEO comes out right here and says on CNBC, which was probably the last time I watched CNBC, no joke, not 1 minute. So what he said was like, look at us, we're doing great, we've never been better, the industry has never been better, blah, 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 blah. Everything's perfect, and everybody fell for it. And I was like, all right, great, let's go check it out. Wait, what? Where is all that perfect, never been better? First of all, bullshit, never been better. What about this? Excuse me. How is this worse than this? Yeah, things have been better. Never been better is BS. 5, this price to sales is higher than Amazon. Higher than Amazon. What? On what planet? Amazon grows 30% a year. This guy's shrinking and he wants to tell us that things are great. I call bull on that. Somebody will figure it out. 35 PE? Look, 35 PE? What? Yeah, way too expensive for its own good. I don't care what the environment is like. I'll wait to see it. The proof is in the pudding. Show me this growth that's coming. Just show me where's this never been better thing. And then we'll talk about it. So anyway, I have beef, clearly. Netflix, good buy on the dip. Closer to 500, the better. When was the last time I traded it? I can't remember. Credit put spread that expired worthless in my favor. Nike, I haven't looked at in a while. So great company, great management. They defy the odds all the time. People have free money from the government and they're spending it on shoes. And I'm speaking from my own gym, from the people I know who are not well paid. They're better paid from the government now, unemployed. So they have 2-3 pairs of brand new Nikes each. No joke. So lose 130, you can get to 125, 120, at which point it would be a great buy. I will want to know about it and catch it with kid gloves. NVIDIA, I think it makes a good long right here, provided I stop myself out, because I don't want to know what's below here. Technically, there is support at 491, 192, 492, even into 468, which was an emphatic bounce. One long tail, and the next day, boom, inverted hammer, whatever you want to call it. But it's an expensive stock, high PE, high price to sales, compared even to AMD. AMD is now cheaper than NVIDIA on all counts, which is pretty incredible to say. Starbucks, definitely not for me up here. I don't get it. Deteriorating conditions, and it's an all-time highs, right? All-time highs? Before I say that, but yeah, all-time highs. What? Yeah, I don't buy it. Literally. TLT, I'm long and in pain. And this is my third attempt at catching the falling knife. But this is it, folks. This is it. It's the big one, Elizabeth. Tesla, oh my lord, painful day. It's a better long than short. Again, the 23rd candle is it. Hold or, let go that goes down to 480. I know somebody just cussed me out right now as I said this. I'm long Tesla. How about that, okay? Twilio is a good long here with a tight stop. That guy moves fast. And this is my gauge on how strong the market is. For some reason, this is a good gauge for the last year of risk appetite for me. It's served me really, really well as a gauge. And it's at the bottom end of an ascending range. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. That it's a better buy falling into 340, 350 than a sell. And overnight, the low was 360. So I'm going to say it's close enough to sell some put spreads in that bad boy. Twitter, I'm short. Nothing else to say. But by short, I mean I'm like I hold puts or put spreads, so it's not like I sell the stock. I'm not that crazy. Visa's too high for my taste. I'd rather go to Square or PayPal right now. Nope. Walmart is a good deal. However, I have to put a caveat. Something is going on with Walmart. It's switching to be completely Amazon. Big store in Irvine, Southern California, huge, one of those ones that sells groceries and everything, shut down. And it was like fairly brand new. And the other ones I go to, yes, I do shop at Walmart. Ain't no shame in it. One cashier, even for 20 people in line. Pretty strange behavior, especially that you can't buy everything from self-checkout. Because if you happen to have a bottle of wine, you can't check out at self-checkout because they need to check your IDs. So it's in a cluster that served as the base, and they're too eagerly losing it. So something is going on inside of Walmart, so caution. I don't know what this scandal was all about, so maybe they're seeking to at least touch half of it. It's a better long than short here. If I waited this long, still long the stock, I don't panic out, knowing that this area should be bulletproof because of the volume profile on the left. But there's something going on. XLE, I'd be a short rather than a long up here. In fact, I am short indirectly because I shorted the CVX pop. So we'll see if that plays out in my favor. You know what? I may even take a stab at XLE. I don't know. XLF, I don't like it up here. XLM, I don't like it for the same exact reason. So Novavax exposure, I was short twice. I was short from up here. I booked, and then I reshorted. I had to put spread. I closed it. I should have left it. It was $20 wide. It was beautiful. It paid well. So I closed it and then reshorted by selling call spread, and that played out perfectly. And I didn't short again. So now it approaches the candle without the gap that brought its whole back. So my beef with Novavax is, folks, I think they're better. I'm going to offend somebody. I think they're better at managing the stock than managing their own business. They don't have a vaccine yet. They've never had a vaccine. That's a company that has vaccine in its name. So this is a monthly chart of Novavax. What? The high is 340 yet, but it's had a reverse split 20-1. So it doesn't get delisted, which means it was under $1 several times. And I'm speaking from somebody who used to trade it from the long side. I was into it when it rallied to 12 or 18 the first time around, and then it collapsed on a failure of sorts down to 80 cents, and I went long it again, and I caught the bounce, and I got out of it. So I'm not a hater. I just don't get it. The excitement over the vaccine. I had a discussion with a friend the other day, and he knew more about it than me. He said, 1 billion vaccines sold right away as soon as it gets approved. Okay, so that's probably what that was all about, and then some. How much money is 1 billion vaccines? Look at what J&J today or this week has basically cornered the market for the U.S. between them and Merck. Merck is going to, what do they call it? Something plug and fill or something like that, where they're going to make, since they're late with their own vaccine, they're going to manufacture J&J's vaccine. So J&J stock has the orders and it's falling out of bed. So there's something wrong with expecting a lot of profits from vaccines. So when a company doesn't have any income, okay, I get it. So it's going to have income. But this stock was a dollar just not too long ago. So how much of it is already priced in? And I haven't done the math. I'm asking legitimately, what is the math on it? So somebody should do it. Technically, okay, the pain has happened. If I'm still long, I would probably stay to see if this is going to hold. I wouldn't start shorting here. That's me. So if it gets to 140, that's the base from which I buy. But I don't like it. Moderna, almost the same exact comments, except this one has actually vaccine and more than one trick pony, as one friend said today. W was a buy for me into 2021. And I don't have anything on it now. So it will find footing when the market finds footing. They advertise a lot. Fastly is a better long than short, provided it holds this. If it loses this, I don't want to know what's below that. But they tell me, they say it's going to be important for them. They're the ones that help with the video streaming, right? So if that's the case, then they should be busier than you know what. CRM, something was broken in this company. So this is the CEO that could never do any wrong, and now he cannot do any right since they announced the buying of Slack. So lost losing this triggers a big bear. And by big bear, I mean like 160, 170 here, because it looks like an inverted cup and handle or whatever. It's not really. I expect a lot of support down here, but boy, could have tricked me down another 3% after being down so much from good results. So I'm missing a piece of this puzzle. I could be convinced to catch the falling knife, but I would put it with caveat. Lulu, I don't like trading the stock via options because it's horrible fills in quotes. It should have support at 285. If it loses 285 at any point, even if it bounces and loses it, I don't want to know what's below. It's a COVID play. It's a non-COVID play. It should have all the support in the world, so I have confidence that they'll bounce back from it. It's just a matter of finding a bottom. So I can tell you one thing, though. A bounce to 330 is going to face selling, hard selling. I'm guessing on that 330. It could be a moving target, 320, 335. But any bounce, any significant bounce into the levels from which they just fell apart is going to find sellers. NEO is a better long than short, and I did nibble long by selling some put spreads way below current price. Yeah, catching the knife with kid gloves. I can't speak to how profitable they are, but they are their deliveries doubled year over year, so I was impressed with that. Splunk, I can't speak to it. I mean, technically it looks like a better buy than a sell, but something's going on with it too. Also, hey, the gods of investment, ARK investment, they sold completely out. Oh, also CRM. So according to the emails that everybody gets, ARK, that everybody thinks can do no wrong, sold completely out of CRM and Splunk. I could be wrong, double check, but I thought I read it. Something's broken there. Xpeng. I don't want to bother with anything but NEO and Tesla on EVs. Or Ford and GM and those companies, because in my opinion, the EVs flip from ICE, internal combustion engines, to EVs is not going to happen from niche companies, new niche companies. It's the big guys that are going to flip. Volvo announced all of or 90 or whatever percent of all of its new cars are going to be EVs by the year 20 blah blah blah, which is pretty soon. GM, Ford, they all said the same thing. Jaguar, I think, said the same thing. So they have committed to flipping to EVs. So the days of ICE are numbered, however long it's going to take to flip everybody. But the new inventory is going to come from these there's huge legacy companies that are going to flip before the other guys can take any part of it. For example, Lucid Motors, what's the ticker? CCIV, the SPAC that brought it, or they merged with Lucid Motors to make to bring this high-end electric car onto the market. I think the starting price is like realistically in the 90s. So it's not a Tesla competitor. It competes with Tesla on the upper end, and that's it. When your car is between $90,000 and $180,000, you're targeting the 1%ers, if that. The 1%ers that like EVs. So yeah, it's cool, but it's not going to be a mass market. Fubo is a legitimate company providing a legitimate service. I don't know what they said, and I have to read the report. But if you like YouTube TV, you're going to love Fubo. I may ditch YouTube TV for Fubo if I can convince my wife to do that. Regeneron should be a good buy down here, but we could have said that the last couple of weeks. This is a solid base, so 420 is a good base. If I sold put spreads, I'm okay. Snow, I'm long. I took a flyer on the earnings, and the reaction for the earnings was hilarious. It went down to 227. So I looked at the reason. Man, they couldn't have muffed it up more. They missed on sales, guided lower. Missed on earnings, which I really don't care about, by 300%. That part I may care about, but so there was nothing good news. I don't know how it's bouncing, and it's green. So it went to 227, it went as high as 256 or 260, and now it's back down to 250. So if it opens green tomorrow, it might speak to the market. Zoom, be careful. I would catch this falling knife, but I would stop immediately after this out, because it could go to 175. I'm not saying it's going there. It's got a lot of support here, but here's my fear. So earnings this time, rolled over only like a couple of weeks of COVID performance. What does that mean? The next earnings in June is going to have 3 months of performance to measure up against last year's performance, which were already strong because people were already Zooming. So it's easy to say I grew 300% over a period of time that didn't have Zoom as a verb. Well, in June, it's going to have 3 months of strong COVID performance. So the spike in the Zoom usage may have already occurred, and the next report will have to say we grew only 20% over last year, or God forbid they didn't grow over last year. Whoo-wee. That would be a disaster. So be careful. I like the company. It's a lot cheaper now, but it's still exorbitantly expensive. What do I mean? I'm not talking profitability. The one metric that I use for growth companies is this one: price to sales. It has nothing to do with how profitable it is. It's the stock price and what the people expect. They're expecting 57. They're giving it credit for 57 years worth of sales right here, right now. If I buy this share, I'm walking up to a pizza store and saying, I love your store. I'm going to pay you 57 years worth of your sales for you to give me your store. Sold to you. That's what he would tell me, or she. Anyway. Hylon, it's hydrogen, lithium, and ion combination to make the Hylon. HYLN. I said I cannot touch it unless it recovers 18. Yes, it popped over 18, but it can't hold it. It's going to 12. I said it in the video, and I got bombarded with hate. Once it lost this line right there, mathematically, it should be out of business if you say the Head and Shoulders is going to come to fruition. So I picked 12 because the price for the warrants that were hanging around into December were like 11 and change. I can't remember the number now. So I don't trade it. I'm not short it. I definitely wouldn't add to it, but it's going to 12 or lower if they cannot recover and hold 18. And now what's worse is that this is the point of control, that orange line. That is a massive amount of action to slice through on the way up. This was whatever battery information came up. They couldn't even hold it 1 day, 2, 3 days, and then they were back. So be careful. I mean, I like the story, especially that it's a hybrid current solution. So if I own a semi Class 8 truck, which is what they specialize in, they can give me, retrofit my truck with one electrified axle for like 15 grand. That's an incredible idea. I don't like it as much for the Hypertruck that they promise that they don't have. Okay, Workhorse, similar story, but ugly trucks, but they lost one giant opportunity. So why are you punishing it so badly? Losing a sale shouldn't kill the company prospects, and if so, then it's a bad company to be in. So it's a leap of faith. I don't add if I'm long from 32, that's for sure. Nikola, is it a fake? Is it not a fake? It's a binary outcome. I hated it the first time I saw the guy on TV because I thought he was more proud of his stock than his trucks, and it turns out I was right. I changed my mind because everybody thought that he was God and he'd made a deal with GM, and it turns out I was right. So I'm not long, I'm not short. Pot companies could stand to lose a little bit more. I think the Biden price is still in it. I looked at ACB the other day. ACB was a buy, and it happened in an instant, and then it disappeared. So I missed the entry, and I didn't re-enter when it fell back down. So ACB needs to hold 10 for a round number. Otherwise, it's going to, I don't want to say it, I'll say 8. Are you okay with 8? Because it might go and fill this gap finally down to here. 7. Well, I'm going to say 8. It's got support there. Boy, 28 minutes. But how many tickers with that? You're welcome.